Hey guys, Greg here. Some people ask me how I live in Japan. I cheat. So topic, how I cheat at living in Japan. Alright, I didn't cheat, but I feel like I'm cheating. Because I know a lot of people want to move to Japan or want to live in Japan, and they have a lot tougher time than I have. And it's actually pretty easy to do for me. I'm married to a Japanese woman. That's pretty much all I need to live in Japan, to work in Japan. For example, to get a spousal visa, which allows me to work any job I want and to live in Japan for a period of 3 years, all I needed to do was give the government 3 days, as well as fill out a simple form. Maybe I'll find it online and pop it up over here. But that's it. Once we were living here for a while and we decided we wanted to stay longer, I had to look at options for renewing my visa. And one of the options was permanent residency. I always thought permanent residency was hard to get, and I read that you needed to live in Japan for 10 years before applying. But if the person is a spouse of a Japanese national, special permanent resident, or permanent resident, and has been in a real marital relationship for more than 3 years consecutively, and has stayed in Japan more than 1 year consecutively, well, then I can apply for a permanent residency. And that's exactly what I did. So I needed to be married to my Japanese wife for 3 years and have lived in Japan for 1 year. Once you have permanent residency, you can easily get credit cards, a house loan, pretty much anything that any other Japanese person can do except vote. And honestly, I'm sure it doesn't hurt being from the right country. So my visa, my spousal visa, only took 3 days to process. And for my permanent residency, I think it took me almost exactly 6 months to process. I've read stories about people studying so hard to learn Japanese, to get in visas, working at companies they don't want to, trying all sorts of things, going back and forth, renewing their visas. But for me, no, it was pretty simple. Being able to live in Japan and work in Japan aren't the only ways that I feel like I'm cheating. Speaking Japanese is not something I'm terribly good at. I can get by, and I've studied Japanese in university level, and I've taken Japanese courses, I've self-studied, I've put hundreds of hours into it, but honestly, I still suck horribly bad. My 5-year-old niece can speak Japanese better than I can. But I easily get by because I have my wife who speaks fluent Japanese. She's a native Japanese after all. And if my wife's not around, the kids usually do okay in a pinch. With my permanent residency status, I can work any job I want. But I haven't really tried to. Why? Well, I do most of my work online for companies that are non-Japanese. That means I can work from home. So I'm there to send my kids off to school, and I'm also there for when my kids come back from school. I can take them to extracurricular activities, and I don't have those crazy, Japanese work hours that I know many working people do. So I'm a guy living in Japan, and I have more time than the average Japanese husband. And I can do things that a Japanese husband just doesn't have the time for. But it's nothing special beyond what a Canadian husband would be expected to do. But when I do that, I'm like super husband. I wash dishes. I clean up the bathtub. I clean up around the house. I don't cook. I just cook a very, very embarrassingly little amount. I watch the kids as well. So just those things are enough to make Japanese wives look kindly upon me. That sounded bad, not kindly in that way. And last, but definitely not least, is family. They're a huge reason we moved here. My wife's Japanese family lives close by to us, and with that, when we moved, we got built-in place to stay, we got secondhand furniture, we had babysitters, we had friends. Not friends, the cousins. The kids had cousins to play with. Side note, one thing that was still hard to get was a lease for an apartment. My father-in-law, so my wife's father, as well as my brother-in-law, so my wife's sister's brother, they both guaranteed it and they both had decent income. And yet we still had to pay guarantor fees and go through all this red tape just to rent an apartment. But anyways, I think I lucked out with my wife's family, which is now my family. They're such great people. They're loving, they're caring, they're kind, they're generous. I can't say much more than that. They're pretty awesome people. I'm trying to do things to make the most of my good fortune. I'm trying to learn Japanese at an advanced pace. So my in-laws, who are great, they're helping me learn, as well as my kids. I read English books at the school for the kids and try to help out with school activities here and there when I can. And when my family needs me, I try to be there for them. But that stuff doesn't seem like that much. I feel like I'm getting way more out of what I'm getting than I'm giving back. Anyhow, I realize I'm a very lucky guy. I'm so thankful for what I have. So when I'm down, I just have to think about it and say like, oh yeah, I don't have it bad at all. So I also want to say that I'm very thankful for you watching this and communicating with me or commenting. It really means a lot to me. So thank you for that as well. That's about it. That's about all for today. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.